Namaskar. Welcome to the 20th episode of the Indian AdGeek. My name is Vishal Mehra. In the ad world, we are obsessed with the big idea. But our guest today decided that one big idea wasn't enough. He needed a whole lab for them. He spent years in the traditional trenches of Leo Burnett before deciding to build India's first platform-first martech network. He's the man who puts the wonder in Wondrlab, a co-founder who's effectively trying to bridge the gap between "that's a cool ad" and "wait, how did that actually sell me a toaster?" Please welcome the guy who's currently disrupting your LinkedIn feed and the industry at large, Rakesh Hinduja.
Hi, Vishal. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here, man.
It is a pleasure to have you, Rakesh. What made you fall in love with advertising? And what made you enter this business?
Yeah. I think I was lucky and I was the fortunate one who fell in love with advertising way early in life. Yeah. I think it was while my graduation. I knew my calling in some ways was advertising. Yeah. And the bond kept, in a way, becoming all the more strong as we progressed from there. I still remember way back, I was crazy about attending advertising management during my graduation. Right from there on, I between graduation and my MBA, I did sell, outdoor offices, interacted with my media planners to understand more about the business. Did lots of summer projects in advertising agencies like Lintas, SSCNB. Then did my summers at Ambience, Publicis, right, which was Ambience Darcy at that point of time. And then I got my pre-placement offer then and there while I did my summers. I think, yeah, that, and then I think I should also call out my first overall love started growing with my first boss Siddharth Singh, right? He made me uh, fall in love with advertising all the more and got my fundamentals, which is about, ensuring we respect people and ideas in place. And from there on, this is what was my love for advertising, falling in love for advertising story.
What's the story behind your transition from being COO at Leo Burnett to co founding Wonderlab?
As you would know, right? Things at Burnett were fabulous, right? We've where Burnett is today, and the times that I spent at Leo Burnett as the chief operating officer. I think we did fabulous stuff at that point of time, right? We did amazing things together as a team. Within that span, were called the third wave agency, right? And that gave us a lot of confidence that we were doing things right at that point of time. And then somewhere during that phase by itself, the confidence gave backing to the thought that, what is the future for advertising, right? We were quite comfortable as Leo Burnett for the work that we were doing. But, our entire thinking came into place that is this the way that the future is going to get crafted, right? We were comfortable, happy, really doing well, fabulous team, uh, you know, on India stage, on global stage. But then kept coming the question of what is right for us in future, right? And that's where we started thinking that to win in India, you need Indian brains, Indian talents, and Indian technology, right? Then why is it that there is no India network? So that was the very first start of the questions that started happening in our mind, right? Uh, by then, we were producing as India fabulous global work, right? And then, therefore, again, the question, why isn't there India network, right? We were top in the game of technology. Then why is it that there is no India network, right? We were doing a lot of offshoring work for global, companies. Then why isn't there a India network, right? So all these things started coming together, and that's where we put down our thoughts of creating, Indian talent, Indian brains, Indian technology, India network And we put this down. I remember a few of us, sort of me, Vandy, and one or two people more at that point of time. And we did put this on tissue at a Chayos in Bandra.
You put it on tissue to make it really memorable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
And in many ways, that ritual, still continues. We whenever we put our thoughts down, our ideas down, Wonderlab still calls it a tissue session, right? And we do this with our clients and our partners also.
Wonderlab calls itself India's largest platform first martech network. Can you break down what platform first actually means in practice? How does it differ from the traditional agency model that most listeners would be familiar with?
This question kept coming, right, while we were crafting. Hopefully, we've answered in practical ways in the last 5 years. There are various aspects to platform, right? Today, the consumer and people live on different platforms, right? People live on traditional platforms. People live on new age digital ways of engagement platforms. People live on commerce, right? Platforms, etc. So, and offline platforms, right? So these are the various places that, people are living. And you've got to ensure that you touch them across these platforms, right? Is what we call funnel management also, right? So you've got to specialize in every platform. So once you've cracked a brand idea, you've got to ensure that you talk to a person on that platform in the way they consume that platform. To give you a very simple way of putting things across, right? If you are on Insta, you behave differently versus when you are on, say, a Tinder or for that matter on Blinkit, right? You are the same person, Vishal, but you behave differently. But at the core, you are the same, right? And therefore, the brand needs to keep the core idea the same, but has to engage with consumers in the frame of mind that they are. Once you go on a holiday to Goa, you've got certain expectations which are different from a Himalaya, right? But you've got to land that in the way people want to consume it. So that's like, platforms. In platforms, you basically create ideas as per that platform. And in many ways, we also are developing platforms ourselves, right? Soon you would know about Hector, you would know about Opportune. All these platforms are created by Wonderlab as IPs, which is the way you make platform first kind of landings happen, right? So that's the other aspect of platforms. One more aspect of a platform is that no longer a brand lives on a proposition, right? The brands today look at creating platforms so that they can build brands over time and build returns on everything every time, right? So that's the way platforms are built.
So, on that last bit, do you mean that brands are looking to own their own platforms in a way that,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, Instagram or Facebook or all these platforms are rented platforms, right? Brands
yeah.
don't own them. So, brands are looking to get their own IPs in place where they can have proper conversation in some way or interaction with consumers and get first party data. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't touch upon just data. Data is one element of it, right? But rightly so, creating IPs, creating, what earlier used to be propositions. The softer side of things are also platform today, right? So once you create a platform for a brand, is the overall thinking that the brand will stand for X. And then you keep coming back and making that platform even stronger. If you've got to give it a dimension on real beauty as a platform, it is a platform for the brand, and you keep embellishing that platform to be living on the touch point platforms.
And Real Beauty by Dove does not need a Facebook or an Instagram to thrive. It has its own platform, right? Rakesh, you have crossed the seven acquisition mark, seven acquisitions, if you include Big Step and OPA now. With the integration of Gen AI capabilities through Big Step, how has the thesis for your next acquisitions evolved? Are you looking for more tech heavy IP rather than service agencies?
So, tech is at the core to Wonderlab, right? Our acquisition plan is quite structured to provide effective and best solutions for business and brands we partner, right, in various geographies. Uh, as you said, right, while Big Step was always a tech first acquisition, at the point of acquisition itself, it was tech first. And at the same point of time, Neon was managed service when it came to performance. But the vision to create tech first kind of performance marketing was the entire thinking. So while at that point of time, the acquisition was not tech oriented, the vision was to make it tech oriented, right? So the answer in short is that tech will be at the core. The acquisition may be already a tech first acquisition or will have a clear plan to make it tech oriented, right? Which is how things will operate at Wonderlab, right? So today, also, the mix of Wonderlab is strong on managed service, but tech-enabled kind of service, right? That's how the future is going to get crafted. And it's not just generative AI, right? Generative AI is just part of the entire mix. It is a lot of agentic work, right? It is a lot of fulfillment, a lot of ROI-based tech, right? In the case of Hector, I think we know that commerce is the closest to proof of delivery on ROI, and that is algorithm agentic based, right? So that's how overall tech is going to be for Wonderlab.
We'll get around to talking about Hector in a bit.
Sure, sure, yeah,
But I want to talk about how your European expansion started. It started, I think, in Poland with with the acquisition of WebTalk. So,
yeah.
what was the thinking behind having Poland as the gateway to Europe? How do you plan to export the India model globally?
Yeah, yeah, wonderful. So it's a mix of logic and magic here, right? In overall, as in our business, Poland is rich on digital talents, right? Fabulous people, and it is cost effective to start with. That's the logic side of things, that's the talent side of things. And then comes the magic. Our industry needs definitely like-minded and people that you work together. Yarik, who's a legend, right? Who's we've worked together. Yarik was a super boss at in the Publicis system. Is a proven leader. He is based out of there. He's on our advisory board. We've got Mihao, who's been a fabulous proven guy in the entire European and Poland system, right? Really young and shared vision of creating tech first solutions for overall marketing. So we share this entire thing as spirit together, right? So today the way we operate is that in the morning I may exchange my idea with Mihao and he'll already implement things there, or the other way around, right? That's the way you need agility to happen, and that'll happen when you've got shared vision and chemistry between people, right? That's how things have played out for us for Poland and for Europe. And to answer your specific question, we are mirroring things that are proven. When it comes to tech, it's universal, right? So when it comes to, we've deployed tech as opportune for India. We've deployed Hector for India. The same things start working in other parts of the world. We've got to just adapt it to the local platforms. For example, Hector today would have Amazon, would have Flipkart, would have Blinkit in India. The same thing becomes Amazon and the other overall touch points that work for US or for Japan or for that matter for Europe. So base remains the same. You adapt it to language, you adapt it to the local platforms there.
Let's come to Hector now. You have taken Hector to US, you have taken Hector to Japan also, right?
Yeah, yes,
Uh,
yes, right.
in the US, adoption of deep tech SaaS is often faster than in India.
Yeah,
That's what we have seen. What
yeah.
has been the biggest culture shock in
Mm,
selling an Indian-built martech
mm,
platform
mm,
to
mm.
American CMOs compared to Indian CMOs?
Lovely. So, to start with, tech has one universal language and culture neutral, right? Which is fortunate, right? So that helps wherever you go. Tech from India has already sourced credibility, right? When it comes to tech coming out of India, there is quality assurance that is already there. And, in the most times, the question in US is how fast can you scale it? Versus in India, people talk about, it take time to get convinced, right? That, how prove it to me kind of a thing, right? So there it is about how soon and fast can you scale it. Here it is approving and then e- slowly moving into it and then, enlarging the play. In India, for example, it took us 2.5 years to become the largest ad spent on Amazon, right? We are proud of the fact that today we are, as a unit overall on Hector, we are larger than any network, right? Uh, we managed to reach that number in US in the first 6 months. Boom. So that's, let's play here and bring out our A game is our entire spirit now, right? So that's the difference in size, in the way that you also called out. US wants to see things fast. US wants to see things scale. That's the conversation. Here it takes time, but the bonds are very strong overall.
You have now 5 hubs, Rakesh. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you would say 5 hubs, physical, and some places are representations. There is plug and play, but yeah, you can
Which are
call it.
those 5 hubs?
So largely, basically, we've got a base India, we've got Poland, we've got Europe getting covered through Poland, we've got US play, and we've got Japan play.
Got it. Now, uh, there has been talk about the IPO, right? How close are we to seeing the Wonderlab ticker on the NSE or BSE?
Hmm,
Is the
hmm.
market ready for a platform first network?
Yeah, okay. So, overall, there's a plan in place at all stages, at every step, right? We are proud of reaching here in the 5 years that we have, right? And that too, we are future ready organization. So we are, all the more confident about the approach on martech, and we are now proven with our platforms by itself, right? We had a vision of investing in tech with our homegrown ground up kind of product and acquisitions, right? That got product development and acquisitions. We have always been profitable. IPO will have a role at the right time for the right objectives to achieve, right? And specifically your question on the market is smart and would invest in value creation at scale, right? So that's I would just leave it at that. The right kind of product, the right kind of company which is creating value, everything is in place for us, and therefore the investors smart out there, right? And we would look at it positively.
Hector is now powering over 3,500 crores in ad investments for 350 plus brands. That's what I read. When you were at Leo Burnett, the product itself was the campaign. At Wonderlab, the product is often the platform itself. How do you ensure that the creativity doesn't get buried under the commodity of a tech platform, Rakesh?
Honestly, in reality, things don't work in these silos that, campaign being different from platform. Actually, creativity helps multiply tech performance, right? Overall, every element has its very critical role. Our approach on the complex consumer journey is called overall that we approach it as is Big Bang Theory. So we build brands over time and we get returns every time, right? For that, you cannot be working without creativity, right? Yeah, creative actually enhances and multiplies whatever you need from the tech, right? Come what may, storytelling, insight, connection points, etc., will always be creative first, and that's how things will be all the more in future, right? Just because Wonderlab is doing the right things when it comes to mid funnel, bottom of the funnel, it doesn't mean that it's coming at the cost of creativity. In fact, those parts won't perform if we are not creative first, right? And that's where you rightly called out, right? You've got Hemant, you've got fabulous talents which are part of Wonderlab. The story is making everything effective and result oriented, for which creativity now, in fact, is all the more responsible. And the good part that we all should celebrate is that finally, creativity is also getting into lands of being proven, which is where, the full funnel, which is where the entire products are enhancing and giving us all the more credibility. Finally, there's a conversation of we being responsible, right? We being, which was getting questioned in between.
Before we move on, just a quick reminder to all of you who listen to the show but do not subscribe to it yet. Please do press the follow or subscribe button wherever you're listening to this. Back to the show now. Rakesh, what is your approach to business development?
It's basically create value for our clients, right? Partner them with depth, and your business will develop, right? It's basically make them win and you will win, is the entire way that we will always develop our business, right? Uh, the other part is that investing in technology that helps ROI is going to be our business development model, right? And overall, the best kind of growth is organic growth, right? The moment you grow organically with the partnerships that you have versus just growing, newer businesses, etc., is our overall business development strategy.
Can you walk us through a typical client problem that Wonderlab solves end to end and the measurable outcomes you aim to deliver?
While we solve for entire consumer journey, full funnel, it's not just a linear funnel. It's, overall the funnel is today, works out in a very complex way. All those things are rightly so. But having said that, we work on retainer partnerships, we work on project work, we do strategy solves architecture, identity, then, specific capabilities like social media, influencer, all these things we solve individually also. So it need not be that, we've got the entire mandate, but there could be, specific mandates that we have standalones also that come into solving. The the good part is that once we engage, right, as I said, organic growth happens when we've already shown the way Wonderlab is different, right? You start off with one engagement, but you already add value, and then the client and the partners start seeing, overall proven metrics kind of resulting, and therefore more organic growth happening, right? So measured outcomes are respective to the objectives, right? Setting right at the start, like brand awareness, brand health, which is the top of awareness kind of matrix. Then engagement matrix when it comes to mid funnel. Then incremental ROAS, share of digital shelf, CAG being overall strong and faster conversion cycle. So these are the various, matrix that you capture based on the respective objective and the engagement that the client would have or the project would have with Wonderlab.
Would you be able to share the ratio of your business between creative and media slash platform side of the things?
Size of the ticket size is much larger there, right? Because media is the way that you go to market, right? It's that ratio that honestly happens when if you've got to just look at our SaaS model, our tech model, and our media model, the way clients invest is the way our ratios also are. Like typically, just giving you directionally, right? It depends on the project size. Typically you invest in media somewhere around 80% of your budgets, right, versus the rest is in the other production, etc. So I would say that's the overall number that Wonderlab operates on also.
If you had a blank check to fund one high risk, high reward initiative inside Wonderlab, what would you back and why?
At the right time, we would look for this bigger check, right? I think all our foundation is coming in play, right? We are proud of where we've reached today. Still, there are quite a few capabilities yet to be coming under the Wonderlab umbrella. The moment we are clear that now we've got the complete spread, then will come the need to look at the blank check for scaling to a global level where we become the top of the globe.
And related to that, what's an under discussed problem in Indian marketing or advertising circles that you want to solve, but no one's talking about it?
One of the things that we over index on campaigns and we under index on systems is what I feel is a problem that one needs to solve for. We still, honestly, even us, right? We still celebrate that single sexy piece at the cost of, effective results oriented through the journey impact work. I think the time is coming very soon where this shift is going to happen, right? Which is where uh, uh, marketing has shifted, which is where all the proven things are shifting, and very soon we'll be moving into that kind of a conversation where it's not just about the sexy piece; it's going to be about overall effective and full funnel.
I want to talk about quick commerce. You, of course, would have a very, it must be a very important category for you, especially through Hector, I'm
For
guessing.
sure, yes,
Uh,
100%.
yeah. How are you helping brands move beyond just buying keywords, right?
Oh,
And that is maybe something which is also happening on Amazon to actually owning that shelf space in a very quick delivery world.
it's far beyond, just keywords. Yeah, it's you need to experience Hector to get the true results that Hector can bring out to the table. Right? It's in a way the entire operating of performance models are algorithm based and it's AI injected where you can get onto Hector and start delivering day one. Right? There are outcome based actions that Hector produces versus just what you would very traditionally be called as the search words, etc. Right? I think we are way beyond that. There is, search optimization was very initial phase of it. Right? There's a lot more on how one can win just by algorithm performing on automation. And that's what Hector is. Right? Honestly, to overall win the 10-minute Q-commerce game, I would just suggest that take the 10-minute demo of Hector and you'll get to know the performance of overall Hector. Yeah, yeah. And that's where, as you called out, uh, if we've gone into a mature market like US, right? And which is already overall, on tech first operation is already known. If that country is also adopting to Hector at the pace which it has, you can, imagine it's there are various competitors there, right? There are global players, but how Hector is standing tall and getting results for players there. It's therefore I would say it's all way beyond just base level. In fact, you know, Amazon or other commerce platforms have put Hector on the top when it comes to ranking. They are recommending Hector because they feel the way Hector has taken few steps even before and they are ahead. Right, is the entire conversation with Amazon. Right, they feel that their consumers or their customers can get maximum output with this tech because we've taken the APIs and developed something which is very intuitive, which is tech first AI.
Would you be able to talk about, very quickly, 30,000 feet level, how Hector is helping brands beyond just, the keyword mapping we were talking about?
If I have to put it simply, it's very intuitive to run any kind of performance on Q-commerce, right? Where you've got your products, you list your products down, you basically look at what people would need and you start showing up at the right place at the right time, then conversion modeling happening. So you've got basically reviews and ratings are getting intermapped. There is day parting, right? When people would look for what kind of stuff, right? What is the right rates at which you auction, right? And then you buy the conversions, right? There is a entire journey management through data, right? Which Amazon also allows you, right? The entire model of data capturing. So it's not like, when it comes to commerce, you just don't just enter through that platform, right? Many a times you enter through ancillary platform, but you're getting overall track. There is proven results on first click versus, end of conversion click. So these are, the ways that you would get outcomes happening on a commerce model. While I've, said all these things, imagine it's happening on a automated way. And actually the platform is doing most of the action, to the extent that today you have action buttons, right? If you want to get X thousand better in this week, go about pressing this button and you'll get conversions going, right? So that kind of action is where we are heading towards when it comes to Hector.
So you would almost be able to also impact, let's say, shelf management or on
Yes,
e-commerce, or in terms of
yes,
which product gets shown first for different users.
yes, yeah, yeah. Complete performance on, which is called, different things on different platforms. There are thousands of, SKUs, right? When it comes to, say, for example, a shoe, you would be ranking them. You would get to know which one is performing better versus the other one. How do you why are the others not performing better? What kind of action would change those things, right? Say, for example, if the category trend starts pointing out to suddenly this week black shoes are up, right? So then you've got to have that action going, right? So sometimes certain actions that you would have taken wrong need to be corrected, but there are trends in the market that needs to be captured, right? All these things have to get, on the dashboard or on the action points.
You've been part of both sides, winning major pitches at Leo Burnett, and now building Wondrlab's client base from scratch. What fundamentally changed in how you approach business development when you moved from a legacy agency to building a platform first martech network?
Best form of BD for us is, investing in tech, which will give ROI. Best form of BD for us is organic growth. All these things are the way we are. Like tech, no ways we could do this at LeoBurnett, right? Ourselves, right? Because there's a group agenda, there is, various things in play. Our play was to take care of one part of the funnel. Therefore, that is very different here, right? Organic growth opportunity was definitely something that we kicked off at in our previous avatar. And today, honestly, within the larger networks, Publicis is placed well because of that kind of a play, right? Because there is, yeah, the vision that was already there. And, we had the confidence because we kicked off all those things at the right time, right? While tech was not in play, organic power of one, which we used to call it at that point of time, gave us that confidence, right? So our base foundation was already, the thought process that we've got to solve for marketing problems versus trying to, go and sell what we are good at, which is one part of the funnel, right? And honestly, we did fabulously well in that part of the funnel, which we continue to do here, but it's much more zoomed out.
Can you share a recent pitch where a specific metric or case study flipped a deal? What was the insight and how was it packaged? I'm keen to know how you go about your business at Wonderlab.
So, one thing to start with, we don't pitch the way we used to. Like we are not crazy on pitches, and that's our way of looking at things, right? We don't have that much of bench space that we would have in the form of a other network that you would have. And then you the but the wherever we pitch, right, of course there's places that we go for pitch fees, right, because those pitch fees are invested in the entire thinking, in the entire developing of the solution. So there is no quickly fixing a pitch at Wonderlab, right? So it can't be that ki 2 घंटे में कुछ बन जाएगा kind of a thing, right? It can't be that कि हम boardroom में ही सिर्फ कुछ what we used to like quick fixing, right? I don't want to use any other word for it. तो वो चीजें नहीं है. But at the same point of time, what we try and do is present our approach through the big brand funnel, right, and the impact that the thinking process would have, which is creating the brand over time and impact and conversion every time. So I think this approach is what brands are wanting to hear. They want to hear that the agencies got the right balance of thinking long term solves, but everybody knows that in today's day and age, everything is about this month or this quarter, right? So that balance is what is going really well for us, right? And then landing to the table the entire thing of insight, data, full funnel management, technology coming into play, AI, generative AI, but also all the other aspects of conversion AI, right? Or automation AI for go to market, right? These are the things that clients are also looking forward to. And I would say, apart from project pitches, this is the way Wonderlab goes about solving things, right? Very soon, you'll hear, a couple of big names coming into the Wonderlab portfolio, which I can't reveal at this point of time. But these are large scale organizations which we've converted recently also. And that has happened because of this right way of solving for brands and businesses, right? And we are proud overall of the portfolio that Wonderlab has developed, right? For a 5-year-old organization, if you look at our client portfolio, you'll have a strong mix of MNCs, you'll have Indian conglomerates, you'll have, entrepreneur organization, D2C. So everyone today is wanting to, get to a partner who's agile and understands the depth in the truest way. And that's the fun part. It's not easy. It's quite complex. It takes a lot of rigor from both sides, right? Honestly, it's the client side and the agency side. But we are seeing that as we prove ourselves more, there are results, and honestly, the client side network is quite strong and the word spreads, and that's how we are gaining our ground.
How do you handle situations where you are competing on price versus value, especially in markets where procurement teams focus heavily on cost optimization?
Our entire approach is through value creation, and that's very clear to the marketing team or to the CTO or then to the procurement, right? That we are coming to create value, and in most cases, before we enter, we put our price right in front, because then we don't want to do this at a later stage, right? We straight up call out that Wonderlab entering would come at X price. If you feel that this is the right value, then we go ahead with things. And on the other end, we've got different models of operation, right? There is a win-win model, there is a performance model, which is not new to the system, but yet we ensure that we will grow on the back of the growth of our clients everywhere, right? So it's of course there are places where negotiation game comes into play, which is the reality of our industry, but it's not just the fee value that one should actually sign in into. The potential of organic growth, the potential of how this will shape into future. And very honestly, once you are in and you've created value for your partner, uh, there's no stopping here. Then I think then your returns would definitely come.
Right. I had heard of something very interesting, I think from Lulu Raghavan. She
Yeah,
said what she also does is she also gives a separate pitch to procurement teams. And one of course is to give them the respect
yeah,
that you guys are as important as the CMO sitting in the different room, and also to show them again what you were talking about, showing them the value that they bring to the table as opposed to other
yeah,
agencies.
yeah,
and
yeah,
and, and she told me that that has been very, very beneficial for her. So that is
yeah.
something I've been also trying actually of late.
Yeah, and that's quite neat, you know. In fact, having a very in-depth pitch, which is different for procurement team, is very much the game to play. And I think, to be not just giving credit to what we are doing now, but honestly, we've done this as Burnett also, right? We actually created. I remember entering a procurement conversation with my HR head being there with I don't remember the capabilities at that point of time, and this was at Abbott, right, where we entered and we said why we are at X price, right, and we took procurement through what do we do for talents, how do we you know bring value to the table. So uh, yeah, I think that's definitely approach for procurement.
Interesting. You took your HR colleague along with you for this pitch.
Mhm.
Very
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
When you walk into a room to pitch Wonderlab's platform first approach, what's the biggest mental hurdle you have to overcome with CMOs who've been conditioned to think in traditional agency terms?
I touched upon this in a couple of questions back, right? I would say till now, the most, the strongest mental block was when we were doing larger pitches and we are not a network yet, right? The safety net that, some of the clients were looking at and for various reasons, right? I'm not saying that's wrong, right? But for me, that was the biggest barrier, and this was some time back, right, when you still need to prove your worth a lot more, and the way the industries moved also. India is also a lot about ki boss, hawa is taraf ja rahi hai, right? And therefore, you take that direction. Now, it's the entire, as I said, the tide has changed. The tide is moving towards that these guys are the right partners overall, right? And for the right reasons. So that conversions happened for independence, that conversion has happened for the true value, larger full funnel operations. And then that frustration's gone down, right? But I would say that was one of the larger barriers, say around a couple of years back.
Most agencies struggle to prove ROI beyond vanity metrics. Wonderlab's tech first approach, what specific business metrics do you commit to in your pitches, and how do you structure payment models around performance?
Matrix, as I said, depends on the objective to achieve, right? And if it's a full retainer model, you are right from awareness matrix to brand health matrix to conversion matrix. You're doing engagement matrix for the mid funnel. So that's the overall thing that you deliver on, right? And the good part, as I said, is that with our kind of operation, it is a lot more possible to prove kind of thing, right? And which is where marketing is becoming all the more responsible. It is a lot more accountable kind of a thing, right? And that's fortunate for us. That's the matrix part. And models depends. Yeah, we've got various models that we work on. Performance model as the base is very much there, where you segment the performance as agency and business performance within the slices of the matrix that you've already put down, right? So there is X percentage which is put on value there. When it comes to D2C play, there is the entire model of just a fix getting covered. but your overheads, margins, etc., become equity conversions, right? So we worked on those models also, because then the D2C brands are, willing to, make a partner grow once they grow, right? Which is where things change. So there is a different approach for different playbooks, I would say, right? Or depending on the size of the business and the kind of client.
For the next two questions, I want you to take out your crystal ball, okay,
Okay. Yeah.
and help me imagine this. Um, According to you, let's say in the next 12 to 24 months, what one change in agency operating model will become non-negotiable, according to you?
That every agency or network, right, will own a proprietary intelligence stack or a IP, the way that you will go about solving and have a go to market, right? Or the right thinking, and also the go to market being very intelligent stack, and owning different kind of, how do I say it, right?
IPs, their own IP, their own
Yeah, their
knowledge
own
base.
IPs, knowledge base, IPs for sure, and at the same point of time, the different creation of cohorts, audience type, right? Everything I feel is going to be ownable by different networks in their own ways, right? That's the evolution that will happen in creative and media space, and that's how you will start making partners who will then take your right brand thinking to conversion thinking. There is a seamless operation that would happen, right? And the other part is that this entire intelligence stack will always need to evolve based on data and tech, so
You think
at
that
constant
intelligence
pace.
stack,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
intelligence stack you're talking about will be owned by the brands or by agencies?
By agencies, by agencies, yeah. That's how the differentiation would come in, right? And the entire play would be that this age, like for example, right, the right play of tech media, and like for example, products like Hector, or thinking like the way you solve for influencer with the opportune on insight, creativity, uh, 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 then the entire play of commerce and the go-to-market, traditional or non-traditional, all these things coming together, and you basically being clear about the go-to-market and targeting, right, and consumer journey being owned, right? So that's my view is that that's the intelligence stack and IPs that agencies will own.
As an agency executive and somebody who's been in advertising for 18, 19 years now, I've
Mm-hmm.
been of course watching all the developments in AI with a lot of mixed emotions, right? And I'm
Mm.
sure you would
Mm.
have seen some
Yeah.
videos and information coming out of Claude also a week or so back, and
Mm.
how they are focusing on different services, and advertising and marketing is one of them. What do you think is the future of our industry? Do you think there will be a time in whatever period, 6, 12, 24, 18, whatever months,
Mm. Mm.
where a majority of work that we do right now, and I'm not talking about downstream work, I'm not talking about adaptations and putting up campaigns and all those downstream work, not, I'm talking about maybe midstream to upstream work,
Yeah.
actually thinking for
Yeah.
brands,
Yes.
the right brain work, not the left
Yeah.
brain work.
Hmm.
Do you think that will eventually be taken up by AI, or
No.
do you think it's all hype right now?
No, no. I think, for me, AI is the intern, and the intern will do as good as you want the AI to be shaped as, right? It'll execute, but the way you are shaping things, right, as the primary. So therefore, this won't ever move into that kind of. The more machine learns, the learning obviously is yours, and the more you will already have fed, things will be common ground for everyone, right? It'll always need to have, human intervention, creativity coming into play, and that evolving those systems. Otherwise, it will be, the same stuff going into action everywhere. That won't create differentiation. That won't get one business or a brand to win over the other, right? If it's going to be just vanilla play, all right, it's got to be uh, basically people will always have the right going, right? As you said, the execution play will become all the more efficient, right? And therefore, that role of advertising, marketing will change, right? But people will evolve to the what you are calling out as mid and top.
Hmm, hmm. And do you think pitching and acquiring new businesses, the way we go about that process will also change?
Yes, yeah, yeah. As I said, overall, if we are becoming as marketing is becoming all the more accountable, or full funnel is all the more proven, I think overall, therefore, pitches will change, right? I feel the true funnel prototypes will become the new age case studies, right? Which is where the shift will happen, right? Holistic way of forecasting start to end. Like what I said, right? If you get to a future which will be intelligence stack and IP oriented, then you would already move performance projection will be more probabilistic and not speculative kind of game, right? And ownable models of IPs coming into action will change the entire pitch into more start to end proven ways of doing things, right? And therefore, as I said earlier, live dashboards coming into play will replace, in many ways, case studies, right?
Any books or podcasts that is shaping your thinking right now, Rakesh?
My thinking comes a lot from sports, right? So there isn't a book or a podcast that I would put in front. I have done what I've done. I'm putting all my action in place or future thinking. Everything comes from sport, right? I would say a sport actually helps you de-stress. A sport actually shapes the way you plan out. For me, my strategies, my thinking, the engagement with teams, everything comes from sports. And I would just say yeah, definitely play a sport or follow a sport that
Is there a
that
sports person
shapes you.
that has inspired you the most? Inspired your
Yeah,
thinking?
yeah. I think coaches do this really beautifully, right? So, and if you look at the way things shaped under Gary Kirsten for India, or Ravi Shastri, how we became the gameplay that we had, or for that matter,
John Wright
you know,
also
yes,
initially.
yeah, yes, yes, and and strategies. There's never strategies never wrong or right, right? It is prioritization and depends on context. And that kind of, coaches bring to the table that beautifully, and the right play. When you look at the way clubs are operating, right? And the way things change between two seasons, right? With Liverpool the year before and the way Liverpool is today, right? Is a lot of then thinking has to go behind. That's how businesses in a way operate also, right? I feel the way strategy came into play when Dhoni executed what he did, right, was fabulous times, right? The way he ensured that his thinking was differentiated, right, every time, and two steps ahead, right, was always wonderful. And I think it's different games bring a lot. I'm playing different games like volleyball, which I am deeply into. Brings a lot of my approach to also life and to basically the profession. Yeah.
All right. Loved our chat, Rakesh. Thank you so much for your time on the show.
Thank you, Vishal. I would just leave with the note saying that overall, I feel the industry for us is at a beautiful new era, right? So we've got to all be happy and be positive about the way things are shaping versus a lot of conversations that happen about where are we going, right? Honestly, there's a lot which is going right for us. This is a start of a new era, and we all have to continue our passion, continue our game together, and back each other, right? And make really wonderful happen.
And that, dear listeners, is a wrap on episode 20, a number that feels oddly significant, like we just crossed a creative brief milestone nobody briefed us on. And yet, here we are, delighted, slightly sleep deprived, completely worth it. A massive thank you to Rakesh Hinduja for pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to imagine an industry from the inside out. The boldness, the bets, and the beautiful chaos that comes with building Wondrlab from the ground up. We'll be taking our scheduled fortnightly breather, which means next week you'll be hearing the jet engines roar over at the Indian AdGeek, featuring a major airline from the Gulf. But we'll be back in your ears in 2 weeks with more advertising insights that your client probably won't agree with. If you have enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who might enjoy it. The Indian AdGeek streams on all major podcast apps. Rakesh is not active on X, but I am at Vishal Mehra everywhere. Hit me up with your feedback. Until next time, keep your creative antennas tuned and your AdGeek flag flying high. Stay quirky, stay curious, and keep geeking out.